How young is too young to get married? Today's podcast, Sissy and I, we're going to talk about some of the warning signs.
Yes.
That you can keep an eye out for. So stay tuned.
Hey, Mr. Friends, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Blissology podcast. I'm your girl, Sissy, and I'm joined by my boy here. What's going on, babe?
Hey everybody, this is Will, and welcome back to another episode. We're glad to have you today. If this is your first time with us, please remember to subscribe and hit on that notification bell so you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. This is a weekly podcast. It comes out every Saturday. And in this podcast, we talk about...
And sometimes Sunday. We talk about love, life, family, relationships. Y'all, listen. There has been a few times where it comes out on Sunday because we have been busy, okay? So the goal is as long as it come out. As long as it's out, it's out. Right, babe?
That's the plan.
That's it. Well, you know, before we go into to this topic, we like to, you know, share with you guys, as always, our blissful moment. Babe, what's going on? I know I had mine. Did I share my blissful moment last week? I did. You didn't.
Every week is blissful for me. The beginning of this week, we had a holiday, and I worked for 3/4 of that day changing the brake on this woman's
How's
car.
that a blissful moment?
It was blissful. At the end of the day, you had brakes.
I feel like it's blissful for you because you're back to work.
Yes, I'm back to work. Yes.
You've been on vacay for like a week.
And I'm back to work. It feels like I'm serving a purpose, you know?
Yeah. This is how long your vacation was because you're like, you said something that...
It felt like vacation was too long. Yeah.
I was like, yo.
Typically, I'm out 5 days and I'm back. And
Monday.
I was out for more than 5 days because that Monday, that holiday, it seems a lot longer than it needed to be.
Which is a good thing. That means you didn't do a lot of things in this, in this vacation. You know, sometimes you guys know. He does have his moment where he complains about, oh, well, you know, this woman's going to make me do so much work. But I feel like,
she did make me do work.
The only work that you did was just the car. That's about it.
I didn't work on any projects, but I was out with this woman, seeing houses, doing stuff. Yes, I didn't get to lay down and sleep and do nothing. I didn't.
Well, not all day.
Yeah, I didn't work on any projects. You know, typically I would have a big project to undertake that usually kind of beat me up. But,
yeah, you didn't.
But this time I didn't.
Yeah. So you're not complaining. So save it for later. You're not complaining. You had a great vacation. You know.
It was good.
And yeah, I think, this woman for me was just,
having me around.
Having you around. Kind of gonna. Here's the thing about my husband. When he's on vacation, it's hard for me to work. So I kind of go into a vacation mode. Until Tuesday of last week when they were like all back to school, back to work. Then I'm like, all right, Sissy, let's go and do some grind time. Because when this man's on vacation, he barely let me work. He was like, all right, baby, just take the day off.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Took the day off.
Yes, you did.
Actually,
because it's hard for me to work. It's
Next
hard.
time I take a vacation, I'm just going to leave the house.
This is the problem when you own a business, when you work from home, when your spouse is on vacation. It's hard for you because he's constantly, asking a lot of questions. What you doing? What you're working on? But y'all know what I mean. If you work from home or if you own a business that you run at your house, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so enough of the blissful moment. Now let's jump into this topic. What are we talking about?
How
babe?
young is too young to get married? I think my mother got married in her early 20s.
Yeah, I think my mom too.
And that was normal.
Back then, I was normal.
Still this day, I think a lot of y'all get married really, really early.
But I feel like sometimes it depends, right? someone could be like in their 20s, but they're not mature enough to get married.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it varies.
Because back then, people were very mature at the age of 5. You like cooked your food, you wash your clothes. Back then, I'm talking about.
I think a lot of us are really soft these days. You know, yeah, we some of us depend on our parents. In our mid-20s, we're still counting on our parents to do things for us.
Yeah, like
you're like 15. You do your stuff.
Yes. Back home, I think kids start doing things at the age of 7, 8.
Not that early.
Well, they know how to clean their clothes. Yeah. They know how to cook, at the age of 7. Yes. Mm. Yes. So
see? You find kids are like in the, well, not kids,
so now here's
adults.
The thing. When you're like in your teenage years back home, I feel like you may be ready to get married, because if you already know how to do all these things, you're very mature, you have everything it takes. But nowadays, I feel like it's not the same. Like you just said, we got very soft, right?
We got soft. We got
lazy.
Lazy. Yeah, but marriage is a very, very serious commitment, and I know there's nowhere where it says you have to be a certain age to get married, right? Nowhere. I don't think you'll find it. I don't even think it's in the legal system. Maybe it is.
Maybe it's in the Bible.
I don't think it is. There's no age in the Bible.
No, I don't think so.
But yes, I think you have to at least be 18 for you to go to the courthouse.
Legal.
Yes, because if you're not 18, I mean, the parent has to sign for you. Okay, so at least you have to be 18. But
18 is such a baby.
Listen, when I was 18, I was doing stuff.
And when I was 18, I was just laying in my bed sleeping.
See? My 18 was very different than her 18.
When I was 18, I wouldn't go.
But regardless, I know there's no specific age where it says you have to be that age to get married. However, I know every relationship is different.
Right.
Some people are in a relationship and they're really mature and they're ready to go, and others may not. However, there's some warning signs. Mm-hmm. There's some things, if you're experiencing this yourself, you need to tell yourself, I am not ready. I'm too young to do this. I can't take this.
Yes.
Let's face it. You got to look at the relationship, the finances, the families. All of these things play a role in how successful your marriage may be.
Yes. And here's the thing too, because once you tie the knot, it's hard for you to untie the knot, right? Oh, yes. Marriage is such a very serious, like you said earlier, very serious commitment. Divorce is just as easy.
It's a headache. It's a headache.
It's a headache with the process. But what I'm saying is it's just as easy, right?
To say, forget it, I don't want to be with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, his some signs you can, some warning signs. One of which is, if you just get married just to move away from your parents, you got fed up, and you're like, they're all in your business. You say, you know what? I'm going to get married, because once I'm married, I'll have someone to support me. I can be out of my parents.
But then is it really like you're ready because you want to get out of your parents' house? And in reality, I don't think it is, right? Because some people, they look at, okay, I am 18 or I'm in college. Now I need to just
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you've already put some money away, you have someone you're in a relationship with, you're serious about it.
That's different. Right.
And you feel like your parents are not treating you like an adult. In that case, yes.
But our parents never treat us like we're adults. My parents, for instance, perfect example. My dad called me, I believe it was Thursday.
Yeah.
He called me at 10:45.
And you didn't
my
pick
phone
up.
is on Do Not Disturb, but it bypassed you, my parents, in family.
Yeah, that's what it does. It's on Do Not Disturb. No one should disturb you.
It bypassed you guys. However, my dad called and I was making my calls and I answered the call and it's like, wait a minute, who do you think you're talking to? And I was like, I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't realize it was you calling. And here's the thing, because you know how when we're talking to parents and we're talking to business people. We like professional on the phone. We sound very much different versus when we're talking to our parents. It's like, all right, Dad, what's going on? What you need? You know, so, and that's what I'm saying. We're never grown for our parents. I mean, it's just, I feel like we're both the same, right?
Not like you.
I'm the baby.
But going back to, if you feel like you get married just so you can get away from your parents, make sure that you can support yourself.
Yes.
Make sure that you already have a plan, not just, you know what, I'm fed up, I'm gone. No, if you're going to be gone, make sure you have a way to support yourself. And if you're going to go with someone, make sure that's someone you know you have a future with.
Yeah, and I truly don't think that's the best way to get out, to move out, because it's going to bite you in the butt. Okay, yeah. It's good. And for you to come back and try to call back to your parents and with crying and tears and apologize, hey, I'm so sorry, this and that.
If you get married, you're not going back to your parents.
Because you wanted to get out. Some people feel like they're mature enough for them to get married at the age of early 20s.
If you're mature enough, you're out. You're out. Say, if I'm your parents and you decided, you know what, I want to be grown and I'm out. Oh yeah, you out. Now, one thing that sometimes pushes people out of their parents' place, say for instance, if you're in a dysfunctional family, the parents are constantly fighting and you feel like, you know what, I need to get out, so I'm going to get married. That's not a good decision.
Yeah.
Because in a case like this, all you're going to do is continue that same trend of dysfunction. Because in reality, I don't think you know any better.
No.
Because if all you've seen is bad behaviors, you're probably going to display that in whatever
you're going to carry their own cycle.
So look for ways to deal with it. Maybe find some counsel somehow. This way, when you're ready to make that step, you make sure that whatever you were taking in from that dysfunctional place you were coming in, that you don't bring it into your own place. Yeah,
and it's never the right way to do it. Seriously. So just know that it takes some time. Just take it easy. Okay? Trust me. 13 years married to this man. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You want to make sure you have a strong support community. Okay? You want to have a community that supports your marriage, because we understand, because you and I were met at the church. I'm referring to church people, right? We met at the church. We did our own thing. We did everything there. We married. We baptized our daughters there. We did a lot. So our culture today is really not marriage friendly in a way, right? Back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of getting to the point where it's, hey, you give it a try. If it doesn't work, you know, just break it off and move on. As opposed to, you know what can you do? What can we do? Because if you make a commitment for life, I'm not saying that someone should stay in an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
But sometimes people give up way too easy.
Yes. And I was going by saying that back then, you know, when we got married at the church, we had the support from the community, support from my parents and friends, you know. However, nowadays, I feel the culture is exactly what you just said. You know, if it worked out, great. If it didn't work out, then move on.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, if you work it, right. Nah, then don't feel bad.
Yeah. And one thing to keep in mind is if you get married young, you will need the support.
Yes.
You'll need people to counsel you. And sometimes people will get in your business, especially close family. Now, there's some business you want to keep friends out of it. But I'd say your parents, maybe brothers and sisters, if they've been married, obviously they have some experience, they can kind of guide you. Because when you're marrying young, there's a lot of things you haven't experienced in life.
Yes. And
a lot of things are going to be new for you.
Yes. And you need the support.
Yes.
Trust me. A lot of times we think we're grown. We think we know what we're doing. And we think our decision is the decision that we want to go about. But then later on you find out that, damn, you know, our parents or our friends that's been married for 10 years and plus was right. So you got to make sure you get support around you, because it is so important. And I think sometimes not just friend. Don't get advice from single friends, right? Because what advice are they going to give you? Because they're single.
They've never been married.
They've never been married.
How could they advise you on something they've never done?
And you can't take advice from someone who's like a teenager or younger than you because they've never been in that position. So you need to seek advice from someone who's, been married for over 40 years, like our parents, or someone who's been in the game for a long time, and someone you trust, your maid of honor, whoever that is.
And educate yourself. There's a lot of things you can read about.
Yes. Not Google it, but
listen, there's a lot of books on relationships. There's things that you can educate yourself about.
Yes.
Both of you. If you're the man and you're the woman, learn about things.
Did you go online and educate yourself?
No, I didn't go online and educate myself. I was already educated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay, sir. So you were already educated, and you also, which is our next point, you had a job, right? So you
Yes, I
had
had
a real job.
What, there are jobs that are fake?
Well, there's a job that you just like hustling and bustling where it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, so if you're working at a job where you can barely support yourself,
how are you going to support your family?
There we go. So yeah, make sure you have a job, but you can also keep a job.
Yes.
Because, if I have my daughter and someone wants to marry her or be with her, I got to make sure you have a job, and I'm sure you're committed to that job. Now, it could be you own your own business as well, but you're committed.
I need to know how much money you have in a bank account.
And how good your credit is.
I need to know your credit, your background, how many people you've been with, how many jobs have you really hopped from one to another within this period of time. Well, it typically tells you about relationship. When someone can keep a job, it tells you about, if they hop from one to another.
But yes, I mean, if you can't keep a job,
that means you have no commitment.
Yeah,
you're not committed.
I don't think you're ready to commit to someone. I don't think you're financially ready to support someone.
Yes.
So look at how you handling your finances and your commitment to other things besides that person.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can't maintain a job, you're probably not ready to get married.
Yes, and think about if you married young. Let's say you married you like in your mid-20s or early 20s, right? 21, 22. Mm-hmm. And you don't have a good safety job, and you have a child that comes into the world and you don't. Now, the spouse, the husband, now we're like, okay, what's going to happen next? Because a lot of people get married only because they're pregnant, right?
Yeah. So if you're pregnant, don't let that be the reason to get married.
Unfortunately for the culture, Caribbean parents, once you're pregnant, they're going to tie you down. That happened to one of my cousins. And he got this girl pregnant. They tie him down. He was, 16? And no, he was 18. And I think she was around the same age. That's what happened.
And listen, if you're old enough to go get people pregnant, then they should marry you. But if you get married because you get pregnant, because sometimes...
Because they're going to pressure you.
Well, yes. And some families, it's a shame for them to have their child have a baby without being married.
Right.
So yes, they'll pressure you to get married. But one thing to keep in mind is that sometimes, sometimes this kid gets pregnant. There was nothing really between them. They were just having fun. And
they shouldn't be having fun. My dad always say, my mom always say, fire.
Something never told me that.
With fire and gas. Don't play with.
If you play with fire, well, there's that expression. If you play with fire, expect to get burned.
There we go. That's it.
So if you don't want to get burned, stay away from that fire.
Oh, yes, protection.
If you're
old enough.
If you're pregnant, don't let that be the sole reason why you get married. Now, I'm not saying that if you're pregnant, you should get married. If you were already with this person, you were already in a relationship, you guys were just, counting down to the point where you want to get serious and you happen to get pregnant. Yes, that may accelerate the process of being together and living a life together. But if you happen to be having a one night stand and you get pregnant, before you think about marriage, think of what marriage means and how much you're going to be committing to this person. Because I bet you barely knew this person. You probably got drunk at a bar and you happened to give it up. So, yes, parents, to save their reputation, to save their face, they would want you to get married. And some, they're just like a big party.
Yeah.
Right? Invite all their friends, my kids to get married. So
I don't think they'll do it that way. If the kid happened to get pregnant, they wouldn't have a big
they'll
party.
rush that wedding and
before the baby's
before the
born.
belly starts showing, just so they can show my kids got married.
Yes.
So don't let that be the reason.
And I think sometimes, you know, the pressure, like I mentioned earlier, in the Caribbean culture, when that happened, yes, I don't want to call it traditional parents will do it. This is something where they make sure that because of that reason, then yes, they don't care whether if the husband, if the guy that got the girl pregnant, they don't care if he has a job, if he's able to take care of this kid and the daughter. Now, here's the problem here is the boy's parents don't want them to get married because the boy parents is like, it's not our fault. You know, they didn't tell him to go play with fire. And this is what happened. So a lot of times you really have to take the time. Take the times, guys. It is, listen, to my girls out there, if you are in your early 20s, don't rush it. Okay? It's good to tie down. It's good to get married. Trust me, right, babe? It's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful.
Once you're ready for it.
Once you're ready for it. Yes.
And talking about readiness, there's nothing that really say when you are ready.
Right.
Well, you know. If you can support yourself.
Yes.
I think that's one thing you look at. You know, if you can support yourself and you're mature enough, you know, yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think support and maturity is important. I think if you have, it's just don't rush it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, I know sometimes we're like, okay, we're 25, we're 24, we need to tie down, we need to be with someone, we need to get married because all of our friends getting married, but now I need to find someone. And then before you know it, you tie it down and then you make this biggest mistake of your life. And later on, you're going to regret it because divorce happened. And as Christian, we not supposed to get divorced, right? You're not supposed to. You're supposed to go through it and make it work, make it happen, whichever way you have to do it, through counseling and through whomever. Right?
Yeah.
So, hey, what do you want to say to the fellas out there, to the guys? You know, since that kind of...
Don't get ladies pregnant if you're not ready to get married. Keep a job so you can financially support yourself. And listen, if marriage is for you, just do your best to be ready to. Because as a guy, you get married to a girl, know that this person is going to depend on you for support. Not just financial support, but emotional support. So make sure you're in the right mindset. If you can't commit to stuff, then don't get married. If you've got anger issues, don't get married, because you have to learn to control your temper.
Yes.
If you're a mama's boy, don't get married. If you think your mom is all, you know, I saw this video the other day. This guy was getting his wife from the front seat of his car just so his mom can get in to sit.
Okay.
I thought it was nuts. I'm driving, like, my wife sits in the front, my mom can sit in the back. So if you're a mama's boy, don't get married. Wait until you're grown, right? And grown sometimes doesn't mean age. It means, are you mature enough to understand what it means to be in a relationship? You know, if you can't treat someone with respect, don't get married. If you're going around calling people's name and think you are the stuff, don't get married.
Okay.
You know, because once you get married, there's a lot of things sometimes you'll have to compromise and you'll have to put your understanding cap on, because when you're living with someone, things bound to happen. Things about to be said, and you have to be able to deal with it in a mature way.
That's right.
If you're not at that level, don't. And please keep a job. It's important.
That's right.
So, you know, marriage falls apart for a number of things. It could be character, it could be other issues, but the one thing that's very important is understanding what it means to be in a relationship. It's not always going to be cheerful. Sometimes there'll be hard times. That's life. And when the hard time comes, how do you deal with it?
Right.
You know, earlier I said it seems too easy. People thinks that you should give up the moment that you run into the first difficulties. But marriage is about working and going through challenges and, you know, learn from it and be a better person on the other end.
Yeah.
So if you're at that level, by all means, get married. You'll enjoy it.
Yes.
And expect it to change your life. Our lives have changed. My life has changed a whole lot.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
So on that note, we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast on how young it is to get married. And obviously there is no age. You get married when you're ready to get married. And only you would know when that is.
That's right.
So thank you very much. Please remember to subscribe and like this video. Please share it. Please click on the notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new videos.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the likes. You guys have been sticking with us for over 2 years now, and we really appreciate it. So thank you, and we'll see you next Saturday. Peace.
Bye.